and we'll go over your guys' training. All right. Good morning, everybody. Today's training, as I'm sure you guys are aware, is your level 3 training for your agent interface in DeltaNet 7. Today, we'll be covering customers, your customer databases, and your leads. Oh, there's Sammy as soon as I started, and how they operate within the system. There's a few things I'm going to touch base on before we jump into the actual navigation items here, customers and leads, that I want to make sure you guys are aware as agents, since I noticed on the admin side, you guys are currently running the broadcast system. So first things first, and you guys may already be aware of this, as agents, if you want to receive any company leads that come through the broadcast system, so any leads that aren't automatically assigned to you as an agent, maybe it's just a basic contact form or a showing request on a listing you're not associated with, things like that, leads that might get generated through that broadcast system. You as agents will need to make sure that you guys have your zip codes entered into here. You can actually do that by clicking your name in the top right, view profile, and you'll see the leads tab here. Underneath the leads tab is where you will enter in your zip codes right here underneath postal codes. So what this does is it's the service area that you as agents serve in your markets. So you guys can enter up to 50 zip codes here that you guys serve, or you can draw out a radius on the map boundary here. What that will allow is the broadcast system that's running in the back end. And just so everyone's aware, that's just kind of the round robin lead distribution system. We'll then check for each lead that comes through. And anybody that has those zip codes entered that lead came through on, let's say a listing came through and it has a specific zip code on, it will check back here in the agent profile to see who has those zip codes entered in. So then that way, when that is broadcast,
so now she's remarried to this man from Turkey. He's young, or he didn't speak a lick of English when I met him. But then
I'll go ahead and mute. So then that way, when that lead broadcast system is operating, it can check back here and make sure you guys have those zip codes in, and it can send it out to the correct pool of agents. So if you don't have them entered in here now, I would go ahead and get that set up so that way you guys can start receiving those company leads.
I think we have that set up.
Yes, because we get them.
Because we got them, right.
And then the next piece here is there's going to be a couple other different settings down here that you guys can go through and set up as, as required. If you're sharing leads with anybody, I'm not sure if you guys have teams or how that's operating at the moment, but there's a couple other settings in here you guys can play around with if needed. The next piece we're going to look at now that we've covered that, is actually where leads come into. So there's a few different places on your interface that they come. You will see leads. First place we're going to look is the leads tab. And if you go over to the leads page, that'll have your leads here. Now, Bill doesn't have any leads that have come through here, so I can't really show you what a lead looks like. But let me see if I can track one down in one of your agent accounts and kind of give you the idea of how those operate. Let's do Laura. See if she's got any unprocessed leads. Awesome. There's a lead here. So when a lead comes in underneath your leads tab, leads page, you'll see them populate in here. Now, this is only going to be unprocessed leads. Processing a lead is as simple as clicking on that lead. It brings you to this process screen where you can call out, send an email, or mark as processed, manually mark as processed. You also have the request down here at the bottom. That'll show you the type of request that lead has come in as, any notes attached to that lead, and the activity for that customer. So this will tell you if there's not a lot of information within the lead that's already provided, this will give you a baseline of what that customer was actually viewing on the site, what they did, and if anything was sent out to them. So you can click those little magnifying glasses to actually see the different listings they viewed, things like that, to give you more of an overview on that customer before you reach out to them. Now, if you've reached out manually outside of calling or emailing through the system, that's where you'll click mark as processed. Now, I'm not going to do this because I don't want to process Laura's lead, but when you do process a lead, let me go back over to Bill's account.
Get more cheer from your morning routine. Savor this season with our peppermint mocha flavored creamer. Heck, 1 cup of deliciously rich coffee at home for the price of 1.
Sorry, I have to keep muting one of you guys because there's background noise coming in. When you do process a lead, it comes into a customer profile. So that's all that processing a lead is basically getting them over to a customer profile, which in turn looks like this. So going back over to Laura's account, if I click manually mark as processed, the next screen that populates is this screen here, which again is the customer profile. It gives you more of a robust section to keep, notes, tasks, properties, any marketing material specific to that customer, so on and so forth. At the top, you'll notice again, they have the message, call, or mail systems here. Message is just going to be for if they have a My Portfolio account. So that's not text message. That is sending a message to the My Portfolio account. And again, that's just an account that a consumer or customer would create on either the company website or your agent sites.
Yes, I don't know what that is. I can't log in.
Who was
No.
that? Oh, okay. Moving on. If you need to edit any of the customer information that you see or that you don't see, like their name, things like that, this little pencil button here allows you to edit that customer record. So you can go throughout here and edit, their first name, email addresses, phone numbers, groups that they're attached to, their addresses, so on and so forth, all the way out through here. You have these little 3 dots where you can go into their syslog to see exactly what's been going on with that account. You can print out that account and you can delete it. At the top, you'll see lead quality score. This may take some time to accrue with new leads, but basically what this system does, or what this little functionality for this tool is that your leads or your customers will get a lead quality score based upon the interaction that they have with you as an agent. So whether that be you guys sending out marketing material and them clicking into it or clicking through it, or them going to your website and signing up for different, AVMs or market watch reports, things of that nature will go into the criteria of building out this score. This will give you as agents an idea of, hey, is this a lead that maybe I should follow up with that I haven't in a while? Or is this something I may be able to push to the side for the moment and kind of focus on some more hot leads that have come into my system? The pipeline phase is going to be attached to the pipeline. That's your transactional pipeline there. So any phase that customer is currently in or has a transactional record will populate there. You'll see the assigned agent next to that. That is typically going to be really used either for admins or for teams. So if an admin needs to come in here and see who this customer is assigned to, or if you guys are a part of a team and you need to see which actual agent is working that lead. Groups are going to be any groups that you have tagged to this customer profile. Again, we'll get into groups in a minute here, but those are where those will populate. Addresses and family members. Underneath more information, it's kind of hidden, so don't let that escape you. There's a little drop down there. It'll give you more of a, I would say, overview of how this customer record was created and where it came from. But that's really all that is here. Preferred communication as well. But other than that, this is just an overview on how the record was created and where it came from. Starting at the bottom, I know that we are going to the bottom. I know that we briefly covered kind of the meat of this, but this is what I do like to call the meat of the customer profile, because this is kind of where everything is going to live as far as any notes, tasks, or specific action items for that customer. So tasks, again, if you're creating any tasks in here, these will be tasks specific to this customer profile. Notes, same thing. Any notes you might want to add to that. Any properties that the customer has viewed or any properties that you want to add on to this customer profile. Maybe they're a seller and they're selling a home. You can add in their property here. Any specific marketing material. Again, this is specific. This isn't setting up a general market watch report that you can send out in bulk or save search. This is specific to this customer profile. But if you're looking at setting up any of ththese marketing items, AVM, seller reports, campaigns, specific to that customer, you can do it there. Activity is going to be the same activity that we saw over on Laura's example, except this is a test customer. There's no activity for them, but this is where you would see any of that website activity, either company website or agent site, and what they're viewing. And then under miscellaneous, any messages you've sent back and forth to their My Portfolio account. The transactions attached to that customer, where you can enter in a new transaction here if you would like. And then any files attached to that customer, maybe like documents, agreements, things like that you might need for that specific customer. And that is the whole customer profile there. Again, I know that we kind of jumping around here from the order that this is in, but I felt that going this direction would give you guys kind of an insight on how the workflow operates behind the scenes. Moving back over to leads. Underneath leads, you also have a calendar and a stats page. So the calendar, again, that's just going to be your basic calendar there. Nothing too crazy. Your stats, these are going to be stats for your day-to-day stuff. So if you have any activities that are due today, those are just going to be tasks that are due. You can click into that and you'll see the tasks or tasks that are past due. Any active customers, so customers that have been recently active within your CRM will populate here. And then any recent leads that'll populate once they come into through the system. Now this will change, this recent lead stats widget will change to unprocessed leads if you have an unprocessed lead. So it won't say recent leads. If there's a lead that you haven't gotten in and processed, which you should be doing as quickly as possible, this will say unprocessed leads, letting you know as an agent, hey, I need to go in there, process this lead, and reach out to that customer. That is all that's underneath your leads tab there. We're moving pretty quickly here, so I guess the next piece we'll cover is customers, and then I'll kind of just open the floor for you guys for questions. But that's really all that we have here for today's training. It's just these two tabs. Jumping over to the customers tab, there is a dashboard. The dashboard is pretty much going to have everything you see already underneath customers, except it's going to be a quicker way to get to your transactional pipeline, and then just to get an overview of everything else. So you have your leads here. You have your basic customers widget. So this is a little bit different than the customer list, and we'll get into that in a second. But you can add in individual customers here. So if you're wanting to add in new customers to that list, you can. It'll house them in this database. You can click the little profile card. That'll bring you over to the customer profile. And then you have your leads here. That is really all that is on this dashboard. Everything else customer related is going to be on their own individual page over here. So not going to go over too much of the transactional pipeline because per brokerage, it does change on how they utilize this. So I'm not sure what your guys' workflow is for the transactional pipeline, but just an overview for you guys as agents. This is just a way for you to track those transactional records as they move through different phases in the pipeline. I'm, again, not sure if you guys have any integration set up with third-party vendors like Dotloop or SkySlope, but if so, those will also populate into your pipeline as well. Moving on over to the agent roster. So that's right under dashboard. This is going to be a company roster for you as agents. So you guys can come in here if you have any coworkers or staff that you need to look up information on. This will give you that information. There are specific columns up here that you can choose to have show. So if you don't want maybe, designation showing, you can take that out of there. Or if you need like phone cell to be shown, or phone cell to be shown, then you can save that there and update the roster and it'll show as needed. The filter option gives you ways to filter that list. So if you don't feel like scrolling or clicking through pages, you guys can come in here and filter down to specific or refine that search to specific agents. You can also type their name or email up at the top, and those will also populate. But again, it's just a way for you guys to quickly have information for your coworkers if needed. Next piece is the customer center. Sean, I do see your question there, and I will circle back to questions after I get through this list here. Customer center, again, is going to have some widgets here that you're familiar with already, tasks and leads. So if you're wanting to create generalized tasks, so not customer specific, but tasks that maybe, you just need to follow up with so-and-so, or you need to send out this, this mailing letter at this time, whatever it might be, just a generalized task, you can create them from here. And when you click the little plus module, it'll allow you to create a task. Now you can attach customers to that task from this page as well. But for the most part, these are going to be where you generally set up just generalized tasks. Leads, that's going to be the same widget that you've already seen, any leads that have come through. Your customer database. Your groups, where you guys can create custom groups or use any of the predefined groups that are in here. Special days. So any days like customer birthdays that might be coming up, staff birthdays, anniversaries, things like that will populate here on special days. And then you have your calendar at the bottom, allowing you to get an overview of pretty much everything again, like any tasks that you have, special days, events, things like that. Now, the customer list. Stick with me here because I don't want to confuse you guys, but this is not the same widget as the customers widget. This is more of a robust widget, meaning that if you're looking at exporting your database for some reason, this is the tool I would go to use. For the most part, I use if I'm, as an agent, if I'm in the background wanting to look up specific information on my database, I use the customer list. And that's because it allows you to do a lot more than the customer's widget does. The customer widget is just kind of an overview. It allows you to add customers in. The customer list allows you to dictate which columns are available in your table. So if I go ahead and just phone work, phone evening, phone sell, and let's do initial request source, and I come down here and update list, you can now see the table is scrollable, and those data fields have been added to that table. Oops, I just went back. 1 second. With those data fields added, they're not here anymore because it updated, but with those data fields added, if I'm looking at exporting that, I can do that with these little 3 dots here, export to CSV. So I can export that list with the column fields or the column headers in that I choose as an agent. This again, you can save the layout that you have. So if you want to update this list and then save those column headers, you can do that through this funnel tool here. Once you click this funnel tool, it's just a filter customer list. So you'll be able to filter as well, set up any specific filters you might want by their profile information, activity, so specific activity within the CRM, any website activity, marketing activity, stuff like that. And then you have a little bit more options underneath more. So specific requests, locations, properties viewed, and then specific assignment. So again, assignment is not really going to be used by a single agent, more so for admins or teams that would use the assignment portion there. After you have that all set up, you can save this right here with this little save button. You name your list, and you can show this list by default. What that'll do is always populate this customer list with whatever data columns that you have selected in here and whatever filter options you have selected in here. Now, this looks a little bit different from the customers as well. Instead of the profile badge or icon that you have 3 dots here. You can create a new task directly from this interface for that customer. You can send them a message. Again, that's the My Portfolio accounts. They'd be getting those messages in. You can edit the customer information. So this is basic contact information that you can edit there. And then you can also view their profile, and that takes you over into the customer profile. Again, to add a customer, little plus button, it's the same as the customers widget. And I believe that's all that's on this page here. Moving on over to campaigns. Campaigns is where you guys can set up drip campaigns as agents. You guys actually have the ability to customize the content that's within these system campaigns. And just so everyone's aware, system campaigns are just campaigns that are created by Delta by default. You guys also have the ability to create your own custom campaigns with your own custom content in here. I'm not going to go through the whole process of setting up a campaign. It is a pretty intuitive process, but if you guys have any questions, reach out to your admins. They can get those questions to me. We can get those answered. For the system campaigns, there are 3 dots next to each campaign. Once you click that, you can look at the details of the campaign. And that'll allow you to see who's in that campaign. And just following, down the list here, it tells you exactly what each section is. So who's in this campaign? Is there a specific trigger for this campaign? And then the first day, what email is going out, so on and so forth. The workflow remains the same. If I click these 3 dots on the first day email and I click edit, it allows me to edit that email. So if I don't like some of the content in that first day email that goes out, I can edit it. It's the what you see is what you get editor. You'll see this everywhere, whether you're sending out message blasts or using the campaign system, my customer for life system. This is the basic editor that we use for all those marketing materials. So it's not changing up. You can also duplicate that campaign. So if you're wanting to duplicate, or I can't do it here. Actually, let's take a step back. I'm moving forward too much. On the 3 dots, you're also able to disable one of those emails or any of the emails that you choose. So that'll just take it out of the campaign. You can look at the history of that email. So the sent rate, the open rate, and the click-through rate. And that's specific to that email, not that campaign. And then you can preview the email that goes out. Now you should be able to do this on every single email that's in here. You can also add action items to campaigns. So it doesn't just have to be emails. It could be like on day 2, create a task to follow up with so-and-so. So keep that in mind if you guys are going in there and making custom campaigns. That is not just emails that you can set up with this. Moving on over to MCFL. If you don't have this turned on as an agent, I would be looking at getting this turned on before any other marketing material that's out there. The reason being, I'm sure this is most likely just a refresher. It looks like it's inactive right now, actually, now that I say that. So maybe from an admin, maybe admin have this turned off for a reason. I'm not sure, but I would need feedback on that because that shouldn't be inactive. I don't think you guys can use that as agents. So I'll follow up with your admin staff just to make sure if there's a reason that this is inactive, that, they can cover that with you guys. But for the time being, I'm going to skip over this since this has inactive on it. Email blasts, where you guys can send out bulk emails to your customers or groups of customers. You'll see that there are predefined templates that we have in here. Again, just like system templates that Delta's created. You guys can go in there and edit those contents. You can preview it. You can use them as letters, use them as emails, so on and so forth. You also have the ability to create your own email, letter, text message through this message blast system. The filter option allows you, again, just to filter down. So if you have a specific title you're trying to filter through or show drafts and templates you've created, an owner of that email blast template, so on and so forth. And then this is just a history. So any history that's been sent out from the system, any emails that have been sent out in bulk from the system. Again, this is just a way for you guys to bulk email your customer database. eCards and flyers has now moved over to our Delta Create system. So that is, you guys are probably used to eCards and flyers in DN5 and 6. In 7, it's called Delta Create, and it houses all those. So your eCards, your brochures, your flyers, your social media templates, all that stuff is in here. You guys as agents will be able to go in here and use any template that we've predefined or that the company has predefined. and everything should be hooked up as far as you just enter in a listing ID or an address, and everything pulls in. This is a pretty robust system to use, but it has, I will say, going into DeltaNet 7, become a lot easier for you as agents to create these on the fly from your mobile devices, and not have to worry about editing or creating, configuring so much behind the scenes. So I'm not going to go through each individual template here. We'll just click on this flyer real quick, just to give you a little showcase of how this works. You'll see that it automatically pulls a property in here, and I think that's just by default. If I go in here and, oops, if I click the listing photo, it'll bring up a choose listing option here, and I can type in an address, maybe. Let's do this one. And that'll automatically pull in all the data for that address. You'll see that it pulled in the listing photo for it. There's the about section for the property, and then and so on and so forth, it just goes down. Now, these are the only photos that look like that they're entered in here for this property. This might not even be a property you guys manage, but doesn't look like there's too many other photos in here because it keeps reusing the same one. However, this follows the order of the MLS. So if there's a property you guys have, you have more than one photo, 2 photos in, this will just go listing photo 1, listing photo 2, 3, so on and so forth. And that's the same way through each template that you work with. As you work your way down, they go up in the listing photo or synchronized with the MLS. This system works with just tapping any section that you want to change and updating that section. As you saw the listing that was previously here, I had to click the listing in order for choose a listing to populate. That part's not very intuitive, but you guys are seeing it here now. So just be aware if you're like, how do I change stuff? You just need to click on the sections you want to change, and that'll either populate a drop down here for you to change, or give you the option to change the content within the section you're trying to update.
Can you go over the locks in the upper left corner? Because I had an agent that was a little confused by those. If it was a locked app or just the reason for it.
The locked, where are you meaning?
When you were just in the eCards and flyers, when you go to customize it, in the upper left, you'll see a little lock.
Upper left.
of the
Oh, up
picture
here?
right there. Yeah.
Yes. So that is a few different things. If you see it locked here and you can't edit content inside of it, that means that the content has been locked as far as you won't be able to edit that piece. Now, this just seems to be position locked. So we're able to edit content in here. We can't move this photo. As an agent, I can't move it. It's locked. So it doesn't, again, tell you if you can update the content or move the content. You kind of just got to go in and test it. Like, can I move this? I can. Awesome. I can edit it. I can move it around. That's not locked. That's not locked. This is locked. I can't move it, but I could edit the content inside if I wanted to. I should be able to edit the content inside. No. And that's because those are pulling in from the listing photos. So these are all templates, so you guys are aware, when created, are created with the idea that you as agents can be able to just plug in an MLS ID or address. For the most part, content, you guys can update that as you want, but the layout of the templates and how they're pulling in listing photos, if their system created templates, meaning Delta created them, you're more than likely not going to be able to move or update that content. But that's what the lock button means. So like this photo, I can't move this photo anywhere. This is unlocked. That's unlocked. Everything else is unlocked. So I can move stuff around, but I just can't move these photos or the content inside of them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think there was another area where I was working in Lockport with an agent and they were just trying to update the verbiage and there was a lock on it. And I think after clicking around a few times, I was finally able to go in and edit it. It was just a little confusing.
There are certain templates that have content locked because what it's actually pulling from. So just for example purposes, I don't know any templates off the top of my head that have this, but for example purposes, we might have a short code in there for agent bio in the welcome section of a template. And that might be locked because that is always going to pull from the agent bio that is inside of your agent profile. So there may be certain sections like that that are locked. You guys as admins can go in and unlock any section that you want on any template. It's just about going into the admin interface Creative Studio and getting those unlocked for your agents if you deem it, you know, appropriate. Any other questions on that piece? Cool. Queued emails. This next page here is going to be any emails that are queued to send out. Again, those are going to be any message blast that you have, any marketing material that you might have queued up, singular emails that you're sending out to the customer, things like that will populate here. And that's really all it is. It's just a table to show you emails that are going to go out. And then contact groups. Contact groups, again, is they're going to be that groups widget where you guys can come in here, create custom defined groups. You can use any of the predefined groups that are already in here. A lot of these are going to be tied to your pipeline manager. So you'll notice like closed is tied to your pipeline phases. You can't delete any of these groups. From an admin level, you guys can do a little bit of cleanup, but it is very limited on what you guys are able to actually remove from this section. But you guys as agents can add in any custom groups that you want, title it, pick a color, so on and so forth. A standard group is different from a virtual group in the terms of a standard group is just a basic group, a way to tag, you know, a group of people together so you can market to them specifically how you need. Virtual groups is an automation piece behind groups. So what this does is, for example, like request type. So anytime a customer, a lead comes in and the request type is an email, and if I had an initial source here, let's just say, I don't know, you can go through a whole bunch of lists here and find, you know, the initial sources that they come from. Let's just say I had an email for the request type, then that would automatically be dropped into the virtual group. It's just an automated piece that basically works behind the scenes. So you as agents don't have to worry about moving people around. So that way, whenever they come in through either your site or the company website, they can immediately be dropped into a group. The best example I can show you for this is all marketing customers. This is a default virtual group we have set up. But how this works is any customers that are in your CRM that have not opted out of digital marketing would be automatically assigned to the all marketing customers group. Once they opt out of that digital marketing, they'll be removed from that group. So that's kind of just a piece to give you an idea of how virtual groups work, but that's the best example. All right. Now, I guess really I can open the floor for questions and comments, concerns. I think the best way to do this is to have you guys drop them in the chat here rather than trying to have everybody speak up at once. And we can just take it from there. Admins, do you guys have any input, anything I should cover? I mean, that is pretty much everything that we discussed as far as the agenda.
Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick recap on the My Customer for Life. We disabled it last year as a whole because we had a lot of agents with over 1,000 email addresses. So with that cap with 1,000 emails a month, it was exceeding the mail limits. So what we did is we worked with those agents that had more than 1,000, narrowed those groups down. So I think this afternoon I'll go back through and I'll re-enable that, so then those will automatically go out. But we do have some agents that are manually added, so that's something we'll work on.
Gotcha. And if you guys want any tips and tricks on that, just be sure to let me know. But that makes sense. Yeah, we did recently roll out that email limit cap, so that would make sense on why it's disabled for the time being. But awesome. Good recap on that. Looks like we've got some questions in here. Is there a way to create mailing labels from my customer list? Not that I'm aware of, everyone. I don't believe so. I can check with my team just to make sure I'm not overlooking anything, but I don't think there's a way to create mailing labels from the customer list.
Ethan, do you know if that was removed from in the DeltaNet 7? Because I know if you did go to the customer list, one of the options from the drop-down menu was to print mailing labels. Or you can export your mailing labels to a CSV if they want to do it to a third party and send them the customer list.
Yeah, I do not know. I'll have to check on that because that I'm not 100% positive on. It may have been removed. So I will check on that piece and I can update you after I
Okay.
get it. Yep. Looks like, couldn't we use the CSV and export to an Avery template? Yeah, so I mean, if you're looking to export your customer database, you can 100% do that. You'll have to do it through the customer list page. So this customer list page, these 3 dots, you can export to CSV. Now, keep in mind, these are the only data fields that are going to pull on that CSV because these are all that are entered on the table. If you need more data fields like, I don't know, work email, phone number, whatever it might be, click the little booklet and that'll allow you to add those in. And then you can export that list with those fields available. Any other questions, comments, concerns? I'll give it a few minutes here in case you guys are typing up. Looks good. All right. Well, it doesn't look like we have any other questions. Admin staff, are you guys good?
Yeah, I think we're good. I appreciate your time, and we had quite a few people that asked to watch the recorded series of this, so we'll get that sent out.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll get that over to you as soon as it downloads into my cloud. And then I guess that's pretty much it for this. If you guys do have any questions, gather them together, get them to your admin staff. They can reach out to me and we can kind of recircle if we need to. I think for the most part, though, you guys are, this is the 3rd training, I think, level 3 kind of we've done with you guys on the agent interface. So if there's any pieces that are missing or you guys feel like, hey, feedback from you guys to the admin staff is what's going to make this interface work the best. So if you guys have feedback and you're like, hey, I think this, this should be here or that should be there, get that over to your admin staff. Let them get that list together of, feedback from the agents, because that'll help kind of define your guys' workflow and get this set up to a way, everyone's comfortable. So just thought I'd throw that out there. But if there is nothing else, I will let you all go. Have a wonderful rest of your day, okay?
Thanks, Ethan.
Yep, not a problem. Actually, 1 second. Looks like Sean said, customer leads used to hit my phone. That connection does not seem to be in place. Is there a way to reconnect? Yes, Sean. Underneath your profile, if you click your photo in the top right, you click view profile. You have a you have a notifications tab that you can go in and set up your text message notifications for leads. Okay, but that should be all. If you have any questions, like I said, reach out to admin. They can get in touch with me and we can get those answered. But everyone else, have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, Ethan.
Not a problem. Bye, everyone.